everybody, my name is Thomas, and thank you so much for tuning into the Evisceradio YouTube channel, where I make the jump from the radio world into the video camera world to talk with bands who I listen to and I'm a fan of, and go over stuff like what's good in music, what's good in life, and everything in between. It's a guaranteed good time. I'm loving this new venture, and I'm glad you're along for the ride with me. On this week's episode, I got something awesome lined up. Just a couple hours down the road is a place called Sudbury, Ontario, and I'm going to be talking to none other than Fractal Generator, who are an amazing example of truly unique death metal. They have somehow fused sci-fi into death metal, and in an area where something that's been done, I defy you. I challenge you to find something that comes even close to sounding like this. I guarantee you there's nothing out there like that. Go ahead, make your stakes. I'm gonna win. These guys are signed to Everlasting Spew Records. Their debut, Apotheosynthesis, holy crap, I said that right, and their latest album, Macrocosmos, are both available on the Everlasting Spew label. Do yourself a favor, go buy those albums. It'll be a great addition to your death metal collection. I guarantee it. So yeah, sit down, chill out with us, and enjoy our conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Fractal Generator. Yeah.
You see us?
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
Faces, I love it.
yeah.
Sweet, man. Sometimes that shit scares me too. My camera is like a DLSR Sony thing, and I'm going into like an Altago video card, and sometimes my PC just does not like it, and I have to go through all the troubleshooting stuff myself. So I'm glad we got to the end of it.
It's the first time I've used Zoom, so I wasn't sure how I was going to play out, but restart, I updated it, and they're all good now, so that's cool.
Yeah, awesome. This is your first time in Zoom?
Yeah. I've used like Skype and a couple other programs before, but not Zoom.
Yeah, now Zoom seems to be the way things are going after all this COVID shit. They made a ton of money off of people migrating over. I did too. It's just the easiest thing to use.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty flawless setup now that everything works out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been helpful for what I'm doing on this YouTube venture thing. It's just nice to be able to record everything through that program and just lump it into a software and spit it out. No problem. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, but finally I got to sit down with you guys, man. I've been looking forward to talking to you guys for some time.
I know we've been talking on Instagram there for a while throughout COVID. They're trying to line something up.
Yeah, well, I understand scheduling can be friggin' stupid. I work in the film industry, so I'm all over the place. It's hard to tie things down, right? So, but good things come to those who wait. Yeah.
So is that why you moved to Toronto, film industry stuff, or?
Actually, yes. So I've been working in theater for about 10 years, doing all the backstage magic stuff, and I just got burnt out from that. You have to be about the lifestyle, and it just takes up too much of life, period. And I came to an impasse. It was either stay in Nova Scotia and work the film thing there, which is about 4 months, 5 months of the year, and then be stuck on EI for the rest of your life. And that's it. Or, come to Toronto and make sweet Toronto film bucks. So
that's the place to be, I guess.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I had my bags packed 2 weeks before COVID hit. And then I had a year and a half to sit on that decision. And then I decided at the end of it, there was a window where I could come out. And I did, and it was the best decision I ever made. Fucking, I'm here to stay, man. I love it here.
Yeah, you're digging Toronto, right on.
Yeah, I haven't done any Toronto proper stuff just yet. I sort of came out here and hit the ground running with work. But I'm gonna do the romping around and checking out what Ontario looks like once work, I guess, slows down. To get my surroundings in, right?
Cool.
Yeah. Sudbury is also on my list too. I drove by Sudbury once last year when I was heading to the Sioux, and I never got to come check it out. It kind of reminds me of Halifax might be. I don't know a lot about that, and I was hoping I could ask being a metal band from Sudbury, is there any kind of strife involved in that?
Strife within the scene or something, or just being in a small town? Or
I would say both.
I mean, the scene's pretty small. We're only about 150,000 people, so anytime most cities of that size only have maybe 2 or 3 decent metal bands within them, and Sudbury's not too different. Although we do have two really good metal drummers here, which seems to be
A lot.
that seems to be a lot from what I've seen touring. Like cities of this size often don't even have one, like a guy that can do really fast, like extreme drumming. A lot of cities don't even have one. So we were lucky to have two, and both of them have been in bands I've been in, and we got lucky. We got lucky in that aspect. Maybe because we're a mining town, we got more I don't know, more grit. More grit or something. I don't know. More drumming ability somehow. I don't know.
But you could say you guys know how to dig deep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do. We do. But yeah, it's Sudbury's got like the whole like very little like trees thing going on. Well, I mean, it's okay now, but like, you know, when we were growing up, there's not a lot of like really big forests and stuff because the mining kind of killed all the trees back in the day.
Right.
So like in the 70s or whatever, apparently Sudbury looked like Mars, basically. Like there was no trees anywhere. So
no joke.
I think NASA was even doing like studies here back in the day, just because we were like the closest surface to like simulate like the moon surface or something like that.
Wow, that sounds like barren.
Yeah. Well, actually, the promo shot for our first album, we went into a spot where it's an old slag area where they used to dump slag, and it looks like you're on the moon. So we just took pictures standing out there, and we didn't have to do any photoshopping to it or anything. It already looks like another planet.
That's the middle of the insert where you guys are in the coats facing away from the camera.
Yeah.
I was looking at that this morning.
Yeah, that's just an old mining area. That's Coniston.
Typical Sudbury scenery right there.
Yeah.
So the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
But
that's why we have so many blueberries here, because all the sulfur.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
We're known for our delicious blueberries.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Why not have to come sample them when I make it out sometime? It's on my list it's on my list of places to go check out for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, being musicians from a small town, like, I mean, Halifax is about the same population-ish as Sudbury, and it's the same sort of deal where there's like a, I wouldn't know if the word circle is the way to use it, but like there's a group of sort of core musicians, and they sort of branch out to different acts and stuff like that, and that's sort of how that scene navigates. It's its own self-sustaining system sort of deal. Do you guys find that sort of thing like in a similar sort of setup, being like in a small isolated-ish sort of situation?
Yeah, there's, you know, like the extreme metal scene in Sudbury is basically like 7 different guys that keep forming different projects over time, and it's almost like an evolutionary process sometimes, where like the better ones kind of over time get together and create new better bands, and it just kind of
like the two of us were in different bands when we met, and slowly ended up deciding to try to work on something together, and Fractal came out from that.
Were you two in Woven Ancestry?
I was.
He was,
yeah. I saw you guys years and years ago when you came to Halifax. You
cool.
played at the bus stop, like that little black box theater. I didn't know about that show until like the day it happened, and I was going to ask you about this later, but since we're there now, do you remember who you guys opened up for? I remember thinking it was someone like Nightwish or something like that, and I was like, "There's no way that a band like that is playing at a fucking 30-seater." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Nightwish. I would remember opening for them, but
yeah.
I don't know. I think we may have been the headliner, because like we were touring with, I believe it was Will of the Ancients at the time, which is a Toronto-based band, sort of a symphonic kind of thrashy kind of band.
Right.
I believe that's the tour that we went out to Halifax, and it was just mostly us headlining every night. So I don't know if there was a bigger headliner that night or not. I can't really remember. It's been a while now.
Yeah,
that was maybe like what, 2011 or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. I remember you guys distinctly for sure. I couldn't remember anything else, but I thought there was an opener. I guess you proved my thoughts wrong. All this time I thought it was someone else. But is there any Woven Ancestry stuff I could buy? Is you guys any albums out that I can purchase?
We kind of disbanded in like 2012, 2013. So we just have the 2 albums that we had around that time, and we still have some merch left. So if you did want to pick stuff up, you could message us or message me, and we could get it out to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll drop a line or a reminder or something after we talk here. I'm a big album collector myself. I'm facing a record collection of almost 1,000 right now.
Nice.
Pretty much all CDs too. I'm a 90s child. I collect the fucking compact discs. Yeah.
I still got my CD collection, so I don't think I'll ever get rid of that, because it's just kind of it's like a monument to all the music that's influenced me and stuff like that. So
absolutely, I'm the same way too. I've hit those weird crisis periods going through my life, like, why am I carrying all this fucking plastic around with me? And like I've kind of started to go down like the Spotify thing, like trying it out, and I just didn't like it. I'm too tactile. I want those albums, you know what I mean? I want like the master copies, as it were. So if like the world took a shit and internet was no more thing, I've got these. You know what I'm saying? So there's that aspect too. But every time I wound up going around those crossroads, in the end, you know, I would always double down on buying the CDs, you know. And it was another reason why I started the Evisceradio stuff up, because I like to actually use the CDs to DJ online, as opposed to like doing like the MP3 format kind of thing, which is nice. Yeah.
Cool.
So
unfortunately, CDs aren't quite as nice looking as vinyl, but you know, when you grow up on CDs, you get used to them, and they're cool. They got the booklet and everything,
and they're much more portable. Like I find them more convenient personally to have around. Like, I was like, if I'm not going to sell them, then they're obviously going to be moved with me wherever I go in life. I'd rather have like a case of CDs than like milk crates of vinyl to romp around in. And radio DJing with vinyl, man, they may have been able to do it in the 70s, but there's no way that I'm going to have that set up in here. It's just not
I guess that's pretty tricky.
Right. If you want like a seamless transition, you got to like double needle drop. Fuck all that.
How am I doing this? Technology's moved past this.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm happy to go along with the waves. I think CDs are going to be printed for a long time. So I'm not worried
about it. I
it.
didn't think so, but I feel like there's still a lot of heavy collectors, and even more vinyl now than I remember there being. People are buying it up like crazy, but CDs, like, people buy CDs a lot now, and I thought that was going to be kind of slowing down at one point when digital was picking up more, but collectors still want to collect, right? Like, it doesn't feel the same having your digital discography. It still doesn't feel like you own that, you know?
No, it doesn't. There's nothing you could romanticize about an MP3. Like, do you remember the first MP3 you listened to? Probably not. I still have the first album that metal album that I bought when I was 8 years old, or it was gifted to me. Still got it. Peace Elves, but who's buying? And I still listen to it. Yeah. It's worn to shit, but like, it's still there.
A couple of those old Megadeth and Metallica albums, I wore right through the disc just listening to them so much.
That's a proper way to send that off, man. Yeah. Again, I'm really happy you guys got to finally arrange like a sit down with me. I wanted to, so I didn't really know too much about you guys. I sort of half found out about Fractal Generator through talking to Tito at Everlasting Spew.
Okay.
And I acquired your guys' albums as soon as I heard a couple of the embeds off a review site that I had read, and I was like, I gotta scoop all that up. So I did. And in doing a little bit of like homework for this sit down, I read back on some interviews that you guys had done. And one of the things that I found as a common thread amongst them all, excuse me, was that there had been like numerous there had been like a number of like comparisons that people would try to make your sound, like, you know, you might sound like this, you might sound like that. And your guys' rebuttal was always the same. You were like, we disagree. There's nothing out there that sounds quite like us. And I was like, that's a bold statement. So I did a deep dive into my own catalog, which covers a wide array of like different themed death metals and black metals and stuff, and some like new names online, like I'm new into Blood Incantation and like all that kind of new old school death metal shit. Yeah. And I'm inclined to like agree with you guys. Like, really, your infusion of sci-fi and death metal doesn't exist on any other type of plane that I can discover. So I just wanted to say well done for being super fucking unique. It's really, really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we kind of strive for, is just to do something unique. I'm sure a lot of bands do. Maybe they don't all come out totally unique, but and yeah, like half the bands that we get compared to, neither of us have ever even listened to. So
Actually, a lot of bands that I started liking after we released albums because they were compared to them, and I was like, oh, I'd never heard this band. I checked them out. I'm like, oh, cool. We must have liked a lot of the same bands.
Yeah, I guess
have
so,
similar
right?
things in our sound.
Sure. I mean, like, and also you probably get turned on to some cool ass stuff in the process, right? Like, I never knew who these guys are. Yeah. And then, I mean, in the end, it's got to be a compliment. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every time I check one of these bands out, I'm like, yeah, that's cool to be compared to them, even though we didn't necessarily take influence from them. It's like it's an honor to be compared to bands that are really good, you know.
It means you guys are doing some shit right. Like, fuck, man. Yeah, same here. I couldn't find anything sonically speaking to compare the two, but in one of your interviews, you did say that you don't necessarily, and you just repeated it right here, that your influences as fans of certain bands aren't really found in your music, but you draw on certain other things like sci-fi. One of you guys or both you guys are like Trekkies or something.
Mostly me, him a little bit there, but I'm a huge sci-fi guy. I've watched every sci-fi I can get my hands on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and games, well, Mass Effect games and stuff like that, and
yeah, dope
sci-fi material that I can get my hands on, I soak it up.
Good for you, man. I'm a sci-fi guy myself. I'm definitely a Trekkie through and through.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm stuck on my nostalgic TNG and DS9 stuff.
Yeah, I just started watching DS9. I hadn't actually, that was the only one that I hadn't made it through. But the Next Generation was my favorite one. I loved all the Data stories, and the machine trying to have feelings. I know there's so many good themes and stories in that show, man. Love it.
Man, the characters are so well written. Like Worf is like got my favorite backstory of all time.
Worf, yeah.
Yeah, Worf is fucking awesome. DS9, no, like you got to do yourself a favor and watch yourself some DS9. Dark war themed Star Trek. Like you can't lose, and war. Actually, I shouldn't say anymore. Have you watched it?
I'm up to like towards the end of season 1 right now. I just started it. And I heard it gets good around season 2. It starts to pick up a bit there, so I'm looking forward to getting into it more.
Season 4 and season 5 onwards, it really starts to kick ass.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. Yeah. What else was I gonna say here? You guys had mentioned also in those interviews that you don't have a lot of shows that you had done in the past. This might have been from an interview that might be a little bit farther back, but
no, COVID didn't really help with that. So.
COVID did not help with that, I am sure.
Yeah, it kind of sucked. Like we just like the time we released Macrocosmos, I guess it would have been nice to play some shows around that time, but we weren't really able to. So we still haven't actually played a live show since we released that album. So
no, and we're working on another album now, and we're going to be moving into that with having we shows on Macrocosmos.
Yeah, around the start of 2022 we just started writing a lot of songs, and we have a whole third album written now, so we're getting pretty deep into that at this point. So,
I'm so happy you told me there's a number 3 coming out. I wanted to touch on that too. Like
it's exclusive. That's the first person we've told, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't. I told Tito and Giorgio.
I can't promise your secret will be safe with me, guys. But I really look forward to hearing that. Are you gonna have the same engineer and studio mix out that you did on Macrocosmos?
We haven't really decided yet, but that is an option. We had Stefano Morabito do that one, and he's worked for bands like Flesh God Apocalypse and what's the other one? Hour of Penance, I think,
and Hideous Divinity.
Hideous Divinity. So he's great. So we might go with him again, but we got to talk about that. If we might want to we might not want the albums to sound too similar, which I think he could probably pull off making them sound different, but I don't know. It's something that we're gonna have to discuss.
Yeah, for sure. I hear you. Not having things sound linear sonically. It's nice to be able to have your mix be like another instrument to itself. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys have that in mind whenever your stuff hits the mixing table.
Yeah, for sure.
And you don't want to have it on like random and the song plays from the last album and then from this album, and you can't tell which album they're from because the production's the same.
Yeah, definitely want to stay away from that. I'm more of I kind of came from a black metal background. It was more what I got more into as a teen and stuff. So I always kind of enjoyed how every sort of black metal album had a very different sort of production, usually more so than death metal, I found anyway. And that's something I really like, is just every album to have a different kind of sonic quality to it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I 100% agree with bands who have like an extensive catalog. Typically, you can see like the maturity process in each album that goes about, as well as the mixes that seem to change as they go along. It almost kind of sounds like a band is a book, you know what I mean? And each album is sort of like a chapter. And as bands mature and go on in age, like it just becomes, and if you have the patience to digest the discography as a whole, then like, you know, it becomes that much more intriguing, and it kind of pulls you in a bit more. So I totally get that. I listen to bands more on a discography basis than like in an album on its own, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reminds me of Morbid Angel, which is a band that I've only gotten into more recently in the last few years, actually.
Oh yeah, no shit.
But it seems like each one of their albums kind of has a very different production, which I think is cool, and it kind of makes it more interesting to go back and deep dive into their discography.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I would label Amorphous as being one of the ones where I would continue to go back to. Like that, some of them, they don't sound like separate bands at sometimes, but like in terms of like an overall like scope of what they put out, they just sound fucking like some albums like Tales of a Thousand Lakes with the new one that came out, like you'd never fucking guess, you know what I mean?
No,
Aside
definitely.
from yeah.
Very different.
Very different. I've had the opportunity to see those guys last month when they came to Toronto. That was a big tick off the list. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
They play a lot of old songs too, or
yeah, they threw back to a couple old ones, but it was pretty much Halo and like a little bit of Skyforger in there, which no complaints. But they did get some old catalog in for sure. It was just great to see them. Another one that got ticked off my list was Symphony X. I'm a monster Symphony X fan.
oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
They just came to Toronto.
Yeah, they just came to Toronto like 3 weeks ago. They did like a 20th or 25th anniversary kind of show. Fucking Michael Romeo is basically a guitar himself. Yeah, the virtuosity is out there. I'm a guitar player too. I'm not so much into the shreddy shit anymore. I'm more of an acoustic player. All my personal stuff doesn't sound anything like what I listen to or my record collection or what I play on the show. It's kind of a stark contrast. But to be able to see someone who's like super proficient at what they do is quite the treat indeed. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's super impressive.
Yeah. Is Sudbury sort of like a spot for bands? I don't know about Symphony X size, but like, do you get any tours going through there? Or you guys kind of have to hold it up yourself?
Yeah, we've gotten quite a few big bands here, just because you know, if you're traveling west through Canada, we're kind of the logical stop after Toronto, I guess.
Mhm.
So we do get some big bands. We have a friend here that used to put on a lot. He brought in quite a few bigger bands, like Behemoth.
We've had Behemoth, Belfagor, Crisian.
Yeah, lots of big bands. It's been slow the last couple of years for whatever reasons, but
Whatever reasons.
we'll see. Hopefully that picks up again. It was mostly our buddy Mark that put on a lot of the bigger bands.
Yeah, he had his own bar in Sudbury, the Asylum, but that's no longer happening anymore. Like COVID kind of put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, so we don't have that metal bar anymore. So we're not really sure what the Sudbury show scene is going to be anymore, but we'll see.
Yeah, we might go back to the old days when we were renting halls and stuff, which I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll find a way to make shows happen again. There's always somebody that's doing it.
Yeah,
For sure. I mean, like, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. Halifax, you know, has been, in terms of metal, been dying a horrible death for the last 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the stalwarts and like a couple of bars and clubs that like are like the metal spots to go to. But I find that like, you know, over the last 10 years, there's been a number of people like moving away for work, like fucking I did. And there's not much of a scene there anymore. You know, bands like Thy Flesh Consumed, Peter, he's moved to Toronto. I think Holocaust is still doing their thing, but like every once in a while they haven't released an album forever. Still great stuff, but like, I don't know. I found a reason to leave, and I'm really happy that you guys still have your reasons to stay. Because like, you know, people, areas that, you know, need shit like that in order to survive, because the talent is obviously there, and I'm pointing at you fucking guys. So like there's more than enough reason to kind of keep that stuff alive.
Yeah, we don't really, I mean, we could move to a bigger city and maybe it would benefit our music career in some way. Not that we have regular jobs. We don't really consider music a career so much. So we're pretty happy here in our hometown. So
What does you guys do?
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, what do we do?
Yeah, what do you guys do?
I work for the Canadian government. I'm just in
Nice.
office. I'm a paper pusher, basically.
That sounds like pension and safe work to me.
Yeah, basically.
And I was actually a miner for a while, and now I'm back in school to be a fire alarm technician.
A fire alarm technician?
Yeah.
That's a niche racket.
Yeah, it is. It's high in demand though, so
Yeah, you gotta go for the demand for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first started, when I was younger, I actually went to business school here at a local college, and because I was recording a lot of local bands, and I had a kind of a studio going, and I was thinking maybe maybe my career would be in the music field, whether it's writing music in a band or recording bands. Recording bands is probably the more likely way to make a living, but over time, the more I did it as a means of making money, the less I enjoyed it. So it was kind of sucking the fun out of it and stuff. So after a while, I was like, screw this. I'm just gonna get a regular job and just do music for the love of it instead. So yeah.
Did you find that it was the having to record the bands for the money is what sort of sucked the soul out of it?
Yeah, that, and just I always considered myself more of a musician and a composer than I just happened to be good at studio stuff. So as I was like recording all these bands that were, I didn't usually enjoy their music either. And you're sitting there absorbing their music constantly from working on it. And it was a lot for me it burns you out a bit. And then you're lacking a bit of energy to put towards your own stuff. So I didn't like that aspect of it. And it wasn't really enough money to make a comfortable living anyway. So I was like, screw this.
Yeah.
Screw this hassle. Yeah.
I would think it would be a smart decision. Well, it's a decision I can understand, and a smart one at that. I know a number of guys and girls actually who went the audio engineering path, myself included, thinking that it would be like the be all end all. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to record all this shit, and I'm going to make money, and that's what it's going to be. And then, we would all put out like an album or two and realize that there's no fucking money in this.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, it felt like, because that was probably in 2006 or something when I first started recording bands. It felt like maybe it was more of a career option at that point, but as technology got easier and easier to record your own stuff, there was a lot less bands looking to record demos and stuff like that because they were just doing it themselves. So yeah, I think the technology kind of sucked a little bit of money out of the recording engineers' pockets, I think.
Anyone with a microphone and an ear, like, you can fit that in any space too. Like it's, how can you compete with shit like that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
even our first album, he mixed and mastered it, so we came out of the gate with that same approach. Like, we did it ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first one.
The apotheosynthesis, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes.
I didn't realize that you had mixed that yourselves. Was what we talked about earlier about having the mixes sounding different album a reason why you jumped over to like an outside the band mixer studio situation, or were there any other factors in there? I know lots of bands who like do their own DIY thing and like stay there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a few different reasons. Mainly, I think we just wanted a better production than I felt like I was capable of getting, because I can get a pretty heavy production, but I mean, Stefano's way better. He got a more pro sound than I was able to get. So there's that factor. The other factor was that just sort of a time thing. Like, to me, I felt like I had more money than time at the time. So for me to spend all that time working on our album again felt a little daunting. And I was like, well, why don't we just pay someone else to do it and see how that goes. That was actually the first time that I've ever gotten someone else to mix and master a project that that I had been part of, because I was always the one that did it before. So it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool getting someone else to do it and just having it turn out even better than I could have done. It was a cool process.
Yeah, having someone else like master or mix your own stuff is like, I would recommend it. I record amateur shit, my own stuff out of this here space, and like the place is all treated and everything, but I'm like, I'll also just mix my own stuff. And I find when I am able to, or someone else is interested who knows their way around the board, I'll like push my tunes out there, and like what they come back with usually changes the whole format of the mood itself. And it's always a pleasant surprise. And sometimes you can take that and move it into like whatever your next musical venture might be, your next song or whatever the case, you know what I mean? Exposing yourselves to those different variables is like a very healthy way of going about, I guess, not just music, but life in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting outside of your box.
The thought of me continuing to do my own albums for the rest of my life just feels like I'm kind of boxing myself in a certain way, and kind of not exposing myself to other people's work processes and stuff like that, and what results they can bring. And like you said, having someone else work on it can really change the character of the recording also. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I know, it's super cool. I 100% promote growth in any kind of way possible, like especially if it makes you uncomfortable, like you're putting your baby in someone else's hands, you know what I mean? Some people have a big issue with doing that. I've written enough music at this point in my life that I was able to let go of that. I think in the past that would have bothered me, but at this point it's like, you know, we're just doing this because we love it, and I don't feel such a intense personal attachment to like this sort of selfish sort of attachment to the music as I might have when I was younger. So that's good. I think it leaves it more open to become something better than it could be when you get people professional as Stefano is anyway. Yeah, right, man. That sounds like growth and maturity.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
I wanted to just quickly go back on like some of the song structure stuff that you guys got going. One of the things, so this might take a little bit of explaining to do, but there's something I noticed particularly interesting about what your guys' sound is like in terms of composition, which puts you apart from everybody else, in my opinion, is I'm a big gym goer, and I'm always listening to tunes. And when I'm getting through some hard plateaus or just like a shitty point where I'm sort of like having a rough time getting through the workout, most bands I listen to have like a groove section or just something that gets the adrenaline pumping and sort of like blasts me through that. In your guys' case, I think I called it pain states, where like it wasn't so much the groove, but it almost puts my brain outside of a box. And the only way I can tell you what's up with that is to give you examples of songs like the title track Macrocosmos and like the last half of Serpentine, in both your album closers, Reflections and I can't remember the other one off the top.
Ethereal.
Yeah, thank you. They both put you in places that just sort of make it very out of body. And I don't know if you guys were meaning to do that, / again, well done. But like, how did you come up with those particular ideas that just sort of shift reality in a sense that like it's bonkers, man?
I think that's kind of just, for me personally, I think that's just kind of the music that I really connect with, is stuff that does that. So I think that just kind of comes through in a lot of what we write. And maybe those ending tracks, I think with the ending tracks, they're a little more
experimental.
A little bit more experimental, or a little bit more, sometimes they have a bit more breathing room to them or something like that, a little more atmosphere on those final tracks. But I think that's something that probably shines through in a lot of our writing, just that kind of bringing you to a different place, a different kind of world in your mind is something that being a black metal guy back in the day, that's what I really liked about black metal. So
for sure,
feelings a lot.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So we're always trying to create an atmosphere. So I think that's probably going to come through in a lot of our stuff, and even on the next album, there will still be that factor, I'm sure.
Fuck yes, keep doing
And
that.
that's really so. So you were saying, so listening to us at the gym, does it help at all, or does it make it worse?
No, it absolutely helps.
Okay.
It works with the flavor of the type of workout that I do as well. I don't lift weights. I'm a calisthenics guy, so there's a lot of body movement, and not a lot of like isolating a muscle or something. And what your guys is that shit that we were just talking about just helps me like put a motion towards fuck, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It just helps me go out of body. I'm no longer thinking about the movement that I'm doing, and I can kind of push through anything like that. And maybe it's got something to do with the atmosphere. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still kind of figuring that out. Like after this interview today, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to see if I can put your shit on and then see if I can come up with a better explanation. And if I do, I'll Instagram it to you guys, because there is a connection in there somewhere that definitely puts you aside from everyone else. And it works, and like maybe it works in like an endorphin push when I'm physically exerted, at least in my example.
I think I totally know what you mean. I think our stuff has a certain intensity to it, but a certain sort of otherworldly, trancey sort of otherworldly feeling. Even when we play live, sometimes we might have like a pretty lively crowd, but then we get up there and everyone just is kind of standing there mesmerized. And it's hard to tell if that's good or bad, but then we talk to them after and they seem extremely impressed. So I guess they're just kind of in a trance or something like that.
Trance, dude, it's a trance. Like I'm still doing shit. I'm not like awestruck in it because I'm actually physically doing some stuff, but it's a trance. It's a hypnotic state kind of thing. Yeah.
Like you're on autopilot.
Sweet. Exactly. Fuck, like you took the words right out of my mouth. Trance, man.
Yeah, and maybe like for working out, I guess if your mind kind of leaves your body a little bit, then maybe you're not feeling the pain of the workout or something like that. I don't know. I would hope that's maybe a factor.
You're not focusing on it as much.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. I'm not focusing on it as much. It really just puts me somewhere else that I need to be, and then all of a sudden I'm past what the issue was, and I'm still rocking out the Fractal Generator, so it's a double win.
Awesome.
I've got one more question for you guys. On topic of what we were just saying, that whole trance portion to your guys' sound. There are some bands that sort of like do reimaginings of their particular style, like Carl Sanders from Nile has like a Saurian exorcisms and stuff, which is like an unplugged Nile sort of thing, and they just have like releases of such. Typically they're instrumental. This being like a super strong point in your guys' writing, have you ever considered like releasing like an EP that is Fractal Generator trance type thing, or like some sort of like branch out, or like you guys gonna, not that I'm making a suggestion, but like it's such a cool element to your guys' shit, I can't help but hearing more of that.
Me and Justin have talked about starting like a black metal side project that would be like more kind of space black metal, like something really super experimental and atmospheric kind of thing. But I don't know if that so far that hasn't taken off. We've been talking about it for over a year, but sometimes I just think, I don't know, why take away from Fractal? Why not just any inspiration that we get for that, we should be able to work into Fractal somehow. And
cool.
I'd rather not spread us out like thin. I'd rather just I'd rather try to take any inspiration, any kind of new ideas we get, and just keep going forward with Fractal and just working it into that. Because I think I've been in like Wolven Ancestry that you mentioned before. I was in that band before, and that band felt like it had a very tight set of parameters as to what kind of sound we could do. Whereas as soon as you had some kind of idea that was a little out of that box, all of a sudden you can't really fit it into Wolven, and you had to start a side project. So whereas with Fractal, I think we sort of have more of an open concept, and any kind of sound that we want to do, we can still do within the realm of Fractal Generators. So
absolutely, man, keep the good times rolling with what you got.
We got a lot of room to go more death metal or more black metal, or we got a lot of experimenting room that will I feel like it would be accepted in that sound, and it feels like it would be accepted to me in that sound anyways. You know?
Yeah, no,
or more doom or more melodic death metal or more electronic elements, like anything we want to throw in there, I think would still end up working. So,
well, listen, you guys keep on fucking doing it, and I'll take any kind of iteration of Fractal Generator I can get. It is super sick shit, and I can't wait for the third drop. Fuck yeah, that's some great news to start off my Sunday.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I was looking forward to talking to you guys for quite some time, and if you guys ever want to sit down with me again on the show, you're more than welcome.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and if I come up around the Sudbury way, man, I'd love to hit you guys up.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That'd be great, man. You guys message us on Instagram there. We'll set something up. That'd be cool for sure.
Great on, guys. Thank you so much again.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
Cheers.
take care.
Cheers. Thank you.
There you have it, another dope-ass interview for the archives. Fractal Generator's got a new third album coming out. Fuck yes! Be sure to check out their Bandcamp, the Facebook, the Instagram. Keep an eye on Everlasting Spew for any new information pertaining to the new album drop. It's gonna be a fucking smoker, I guarantee you. While you're at it, please leave the Evisceradio channel a like, a subscribe, hit the notification bell. I got some great interviews coming up over the next couple of months, ones that you are not gonna miss. So just hit all those buttons and stay tuned for some great Evisceradio content coming down the pipe. And if radio jams are your thing, I have a 2-hour 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., sometimes 6 p.m. EST time slot over at metaldevastationradio.com, where it's just me and a microphone and a stack of wicked-ass extreme music and just having a ball. So if you want to have a listen to some good shit, head over that way, man, metaldevastationradio.com. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video, and make sure you continue to stick around because there's going to be more great Evisceradio content coming at you. Yeah.
Evisceradio.